if you had the Dallas Cowboys making a midnight Eastern time signing on a Thursday night, congrats, you won the lottery on that one. Miles Sanders, the former Panthers and Eagles back, is set to join the Dallas Cowboys per ESPN's Jeremy Fowler on a one-year deal. As of right now, no contract details yet, which I do think actually matters in this whole conversation when it comes to the running back room, which I don't believe is set yet. And we'll get into all of that and Sanders and what it means for the draft, et cetera, et cetera. But first up, give me your one-word reaction to the Cowboys, not official, but set to sign Miles Sanders following his release from the Panthers. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. My one word is interesting. This is the second running back the Cowboys have gone out and signed. They added Javonte Willliams earlier in the offseason to a one-year, $3 million deal. I know Ari Mera reported $1 million guaranteed for Javonte, but I haven't seen further details beyond that. I would very much assume that Miles Sanders doesn't make more than Javonte Willliams, which to me would indicate, another one word, battle. I think that there is a very real chance only one of Javonte Willliams and Miles Sanders ends up making the 53-man roster. Or maybe they're running back 2 and 3 if Deuce Vaughn does not take a step forward or Malik Davis is not wildly impressive. I think that the Miles Sanders addition is a lot of what the Cowboys have done this offseason. Buying low on a guy that at least was far more productive at one point in his NFL career after being a second-round pick out of Penn State. He had the awesome 2022 campaign with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was really good in Philly. Without my context, look at my notes here. He was a 5-yard per carry back in Philadelphia. 179, 818, and 3 touchdowns. 164, 867, 6 touchdowns. 137, 754, no touchdowns. Then in Philadelphia, 2022, 259 carries, 1,269 yards, nice, and 11 touchdowns. And it did plenty of passes. So he had 50 catches, by the way, in 2019 as a rookie with Philadelphia. He goes to Carolina. He gets paid, and it's not good. And it was also the biggest concern of why it wasn't good. It was significantly worse than the other guy in Carolina had in Chuba Hubbard. So they're kind of, funnily enough, swapping backups. Hubbard is still going to be the main guy in Carolina. Rico Dowdle now the 2. Miles Sanders now maybe the 2 in Dallas. In Carolina, he had 184 total carries, 637 yards. That would have been his 2 years in Philadelphia were essentially worse than any 1 year he had or his 2 years in Carolina, essentially worse than any year he had in Philadelphia. He had regressed to a 3.5 yard per carry back. So it's an experienced runner, a veteran runner that gives added depth, which I still don't think actually fixes the Cowboys' running back issues. We'll come back to that here in a little bit on today's show. But grade the signing of Miles Sanders, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. It's a pinned comment. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. I do want to see the contract details. I would bet, as a gambling man, I would bet a large amount of money that the Cowboys still add a running back. I don't think even the Cowboys, who have avoided backs the last 2 years mostly, I don't think the Cowboys are actually going to approach Javonte Willliams, Miles Sanders, let's ride. For a team that has made so much hubbub, has made so many comments about trying to run the football more, I don't think they're going to actually leave day 1, day 2 without a running back. I refuse to believe that's going to be the case. Now, look, if the board falls terribly, maybe this gives them a little bit more insurance. But I look at this draft class, I look at the picks they have, the needs they have. I still would be shocked if they did not actually add a running back early in the draft, because it's 2025. Javonte Willliams and Miles Sanders don't preclude you from adding better players in the backfield. If you have Javonte Williams, who could be kind of your third down back, and Miles Sanders as a backup, and an early round pick, and Hunter Lipke, and maybe Deuce Vaughn surprises you, and one of those guys end up having options there, I would fully anticipate that Miles Sanders is fighting for a roster spot. Javonte Williams is fighting for a roster spot, and the Cowboys are going to spend an early-ish round pick on a running back. It's not that dissimilar in the end from when the Cowboys, I believe they re-signed Lance Dunbar, if my memory serves correct that season. He came back. They re-signed Lance Dunbar, and they added Alfred Morris that year, and then they drafted Ezekiel Elliott, and they also had Darren McFadden on the roster. Like, that's what this reminds me of. McFadden, Elliott, Morris, and Zeke. Like, maybe they don't spend the first round pick on a running back, but that's what this reminds me of. They had pieces on the roster. They had decent production out of Darren McFadden, more so than these last two guys did. But, you can still go draft somebody. Like, if there's a back you like, you take him. I would not freak out so much over. They added a second running back. Like, their running back room was bad last year. We know that. Even with it was better when Rico got going, but without Rico, that running back room had no production really. Like, it just didn't work. So I do not interpret the addition of Miles Sanders as in any way interfering with the Cowboys' draft plans. Do you agree? Will the Cowboys still draft a running back early? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Go vote right now. I guess I can spend some more time on Miles Sanders itself. Very different style of player than Javonte Williams. Like, Javonte, I trust in pass protection. Miles Sanders, I don't. I do think Sanders was better this past year as a runner. I thought he showed some better stuff than what we saw in a really, really bad 2023 campaign. But he also got phased out of the offense altogether. Like, he wasn't really involved down the stretch for Carolina. He had 55 carries last year. He was a no-brainer cut. This is not someone, I would bet, again, a lot of money that when the Miles Sanders contract comes in, he's not guaranteed a roster spot with the way his contract is structured. And that if the Cowboys get the young back that they like, boom, he's starting for him. And Javonte's the third down back, and they'll let like Deuce Vaughn and Malik Davis and Miles Sanders and probably an undrafted free agent too, if not two of them, all compete for a roster spot. Like, that's what that tells me. And the Cowboys know they're probably getting Miles Sanders super cheap for a guy they know well from his time in Philadelphia, and they're saying competition breeds success. I will also say I think it is objectively hilarious the Cowboys did this in on the same evening of the obscene, ridiculous DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, all of the current Cowboys defenders drama. It's honestly kind of funny. That stuff I don't find funny. Like, that's just annoying to me. They're both right and they're both wrong. If you don't mind me going on a tangent as it relates to Miles Sanders here. Like, come on, Tank. You took the money to go to Seattle. Let's be honest here. You did not go. You're not trying to win a Super Bowl with the Seahawks in 2025. Come on. He's probably not wrong that it'd be nice to fully focus on football, which doesn't ever happen in the culture of the Cowboys anyway. But, like, Tank and Micah didn't always get along. I think you can see some of like the sideline clips and be like, okay, that's kind of seen that one before. That certainly makes some sense. Like, it just shut up and play football sometimes is not to be shut up and dribble, but like, it's just more culture stuff that kind of annoys me. Also, probably telling that like Diggs and Overshone and Golston and Osa were all kind of like, diving in and kind of defending Micah in the end. It's somewhat noteworthy to me there. But anyway, Miles Sanders. I have no complaints about the signing. It's because it's not going to cost you anything. I wouldn't be shocked if this is 1 year, up to $2 million with like $500,000 guaranteed. And the Cowboys go between Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, we can create Rico Dowdle in the aggregate. Like, that's probably what they're doing. I would not. I don't think this in any way impacts their draft plans. You can't trot out Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams in 2025. That's not a serious running back room for a team that wants to run the football more. So I know that is already out there and people are freaking out. They had McFadden, Morris, and Dunbar when they drafted Zeke. This is a better draft class overall. I would bet you a lot of money, and we'll do a mock draft on this in the near future too, so make sure you guys are subscribed. The Cowboys still take a back early, but cheap veteran depth. I want bigger impacts in general, but I'm not going to complain about cheap veteran depth because there's not much of a negative impact in the end.